Hello everyone, welcome back to the Kind Versa channel. First of all, subscribe my channel if you have not subscribed. Please subscribe. Like and share my videos because today we are diving into one of the most intense and dramatic developments in the ongoing conflict. Moscow under siege after 93. Ukrainian drones struck deep into Russian territory. This is not just a breaking headline, it is a moment that reshapes the perception of modern warfare, technology, resilience, and the balance of power between nations. In today's long and detailed review, we are going to break this down in a unique style, analyzing it like one would analyze a product or a performance test. We will look at the exterior, how it appeared to the world, the interior, what was happening behind the scenes and inside the Russian defense system, the performance of both offensive and defensive sides, the safety features or lack thereof, the unique selling points that made this attack different from earlier ones, the so-called price that Moscow had to pay in terms of economic, political, and psychological consequences. And finally, our conclusion on what this moment means for the near future of this war and global security. So stay tuned because this will be deep, intense, and thought-provoking. From the exterior perspective, the drone assault on Moscow created a dramatic image of a capital city that has long been considered untouchable. The skyline of Moscow, often seen as a proud symbol of Russian power, was suddenly pierced by alerts, explosions, and streaks of defensive fire across the night sky. For ordinary citizens, the exterior view was filled with fear and uncertainty. Videos circulated online showing plumes of smoke rising from targeted areas, flashes of intercepting missiles, and the buzzing echo of drones overhead. This external perception was powerful not only for the citizens of Russia, but also for the global audience watching these images spread like wildfire on social media. It created a new psychological reality. If Moscow, the heart of Russian governance, culture, and military command, could be struck by such a large-scale drone assault, then nowhere is truly safe anymore. The exterior visuals alone made this event unforgettable, but if we move deeper into the interior, the story becomes even more compelling. Inside the Russian defense system, chaos and urgency unfolded as radar systems, anti-air batteries, and electronic warfare units scrambled to detect, jam, and destroy the incoming swarm of drones. Unlike traditional aircraft or missiles, drones are harder to detect because of their small size, low altitude, and unconventional flight paths. The interior complexity of this event was that Russian air defense had to deal with 93 individual targets coming from different directions, at different altitudes and at different speeds. Some drones may have been decoys designed to distract the defenses, while others carried explosives intended to hit infrastructure. Inside command centers, decisions had to be made in seconds. Which drones to intercept first, whether to use costly missile systems against cheap drones, and how to prevent panic from spreading. On the Ukrainian side, the interior planning of this operation reflected high levels of coordination, intelligence gathering, and precision. The fact that drones could penetrate so deeply into Russian airspace means the interior weaknesses of Russian air defense were exposed in a dramatic way. This massive interior struggle defines why this attack is being called one of the most significant drone assaults of the war so far. Now, let's examine the performance. The Ukrainian drones demonstrated remarkable endurance and reach, traveling hundreds of kilometers to reach Moscow. Their ability to swarm and overwhelm defenses was a clear indicator of how modern warfare is evolving. The performance of the drones proved that even low-cost technology can compete against some of the most expensive military defense systems in the world. On the other hand, the performance of the Russian defense system was mixed. While many drones were reportedly shot down, several reached their intended targets, causing fires and damage. From a pure performance standpoint, this revealed a troubling imbalance. Russia had to expend expensive interceptor missiles worth millions to counter drones that may have cost just a few $1,000s each. The cost-performance ratio here favored Ukraine significantly. The psychological performance was also huge. The attack performed well as a tool of fear, pressure, and messaging. It showed Ukraine's capability and Russia's vulnerability. When it comes to safety features, this is a paradoxical category. For the Ukrainian drones, safety features were not about protecting the drones themselves, but about ensuring the safety of Ukrainian personnel by not risking human pilots in such a dangerous mission. This was a mission where machines replaced soldiers, highlighting the growing role of unmanned warfare. For Moscow residents, however, safety features were minimal. Bomb shelters were not widely available, warning systems were inadequate, and citizens relied mostly on official announcements and personal instinct. The attack exposed how vulnerable civilian safety becomes in modern urban centers during such assaults. Safety for Russia's leadership was prioritized, but ordinary people felt the lack of secure systems in place. The absence of effective civilian safety features in the heart of Moscow revealed a contradiction in the government's promise of security. What makes this attack stand out are the unique selling points. Unlike previous isolated drone strikes, this one involved 93 drones, making it the largest swarm Russia has faced so far. The scale alone was a selling point, showcasing Ukraine's increasing production capacity and tactical creativity. Another unique feature was the symbolic target, Moscow itself. While Russia has repeatedly struck Kiev and other Ukrainian cities, Ukraine demonstrated it could strike back at Russia's capital. This leveled the psychological playing field. The use of swarming tactics, possible decoys, and simultaneous multi-directional approaches also set this attack apart. The selling point to the global audience was clear. Ukraine is not only defending but also capable of offensive actions that redefine the battlefield. For allies, this attack was a signal of Ukraine's determination. For Russia's critics, it was proof of cracks in Moscow's security shield. Now let's talk about the price. For Russia, the price of this assault was measured not only in economic damage, but also in political embarrassment and psychological impact. Economically, defending against cheap drones with expensive missiles drains resources at an unsustainable pace. Politically, Moscow's image of invincibility was shattered, which could create ripples of dissatisfaction among citizens and elites. The psychological price for ordinary people was the fear that if drones could strike their city, missiles could follow. For Ukraine, the price was different. While they gained a huge propaganda victory, they also risked escalating the conflict further and inviting harsher retaliation. But in the strategic balance, the price paid by Moscow was far heavier than the price paid by Kyiv. In conclusion, this massive drone assault on Moscow represents a turning point in the war and in the history of modern conflict. It revealed the power of technology, the vulnerability of even the most fortified capitals, and the imbalance between cost and defense. From the exterior visuals that shocked the world, to the interior chaos within Russia's defense system. From the performance of swarming drones to the exposed lack of safety features for civilians. From the unique selling points of scale and symbolism to the heavy price paid in resources and reputation. This event will be remembered as a defining moment. It tells us that the battlefield is no longer defined only by tanks and jets, but by small machines carrying big consequences. It also shows that no nation can assume absolute safety in a world where innovation meets desperation. The future of this war will be shaped by these technologies and tactics, and the lessons from this attack will echo far beyond Moscow. For Ukraine, it was a bold message of resilience. For Russia, it was a painful reminder that even the heart of the empire can be touched. And for the world, it was a warning of the new age of warfare that is unfolding before our eyes.